I grabbed a small paper plate and tape to make the cutest DIY project. I'm doing this project on a fence, but you could easily apply the same technique to a wall in your home. It would be so adorable in a kid's room. I started by measuring the area I wanted to paint and I taped it off. Then I placed tape across the paper plate. I ended up moving the tape a bit higher on the plate to match the width of the fence boards. I added a straight tape line at the top of the fence and I placed the line on the paper plate on top of my paint line on the fence, and I used the paper plate as a stencil and I drew around the top edge with a pencil to mark on the fence. This created the perfect scalloped edge. I removed the top tape, and since the fence boards are rough cedar, I sanded them with 150 grit sandpaper just in the area I wanted to paint. I wiped the boards clean with a damp rag, and then I shook a can of chalkboard paint really well, and I applied the chalkboard paint with a brush and covered the area. While the paint was still dry, I removed the tape, and I was super impressed with how well it kept the paint from bleeding. I let it dry for 24 hours and then I decided to do a second coat because this project is outside and we'll get lots of harsh weather on it. But if it was an indoor project, I think one coat would have been plenty enough. I gave the painted area a light hand sand and then I wiped it clean with a damp rag. For the second coat, I used a brush for the top parts and the bottom edge, and then I used a foam roller for the rest. I let the second coat dry for 24 hours and then I tested it out to see if the chalkboard actually worked, and it did. I'm so impressed how well the paper plate worked to create the perfect scalloped chalkboard on this fence at this early learning center. I hope this inspires you to get creative with paper plates, tape, and paint. I can't wait to see what you make.
We'll start by giving this old fence a quick sanding and then brush the dust off, and we'll be ready for stenciling. And of course, we'll be using cutting edge stencils today. We have our Sunshine Dahlia, we have Chrysanthemum Grande, we've got Favorite Flower, and we've got Anemone Grande, as well as this innovative leaf and stem kit. We're going to start with the darker color first, Renovation Gray. I've got that ready to go. I've got a dense foam roller and a few paper towels to offload the roller so there won't be too much paint. And I've placed my first stencil, secured it with just a few pieces of blue tape, the Anemone Grande, and we'll start with that. Okay, when you're stenciling, try to use a nice even pressure. I mean, look how the roller pushes the stencil down. And now you can remove the stencil. And it looks great already. Randomly place your next stencil and just continue. So now I'm going to use this stem stencil, and it's got this curved section. So if I want the flower to lean this way, I'll use it this way. If I want the flower to lean the other way, I use it this way. So it's really easy to get multiple directions with one stencil. Okay, I've got the stem stencil placed, and now I'm just going to use my roller, but I'm just going to use the nose of it, just the end of it, and I'm just going to come down and just use it almost like a paintbrush. It's that simple. Great. So now we're going to use the leaf stencil and add some leaves to the stems. When you're using the leaf stencil, if you're afraid that you're going to over-roll and get into this other leaf area, just put a piece of tape on it. Cover it up like so. This way you can roll the leaf that you want, and if you overdo it like that and go over this area, it doesn't even matter because you covered it up. Perfect. You've got a lot of control with these rollers. You can angle them, use just the tip. Super easy. All right, I finished with the Renovation Gray, and now I'm going to move on to White Birch. That's going to give us the light color on top. I pre-place my stencils to knock it right out. What do you think of this project? It turned out great, and it's an easy one for first-time stencilers.
You'll want to head to the nearest store to pick up a cute outdoor carpet after seeing this fabulous summertime hack. I love sitting outdoors in my yard. However, I have an open section of chain link fence that doesn't offer the privacy I desire. So here's how I got all the privacy I wanted in just a few minutes without building anything at all. I'm positioning the carpet against the fence, then I'm slightly separating the carpet weave to create a gap. Then I'm threading the zip ties through the carpet and attaching it to the fence. I chose to roll the carpet at the bottom of the fence in case I'd like to eventually move it to another location. Each corner is getting some zip ties, along with a few along the sides and top to ensure the carpet is pulled nice and taut. Each of the zip tie ends are now being trimmed off with scissors. With plenty of zip ties in place, this carpet is here to stay, and super easy to remove when desired too. Here's hoping this carpet hack gave you some added inspiration to add an easy privacy screen to your own yard in just a few minutes.
It's springtime and it's time to grill, but I've got no place to put my stuff. So I'm going to grab 3 boards, a 1x6, 1x4, and another 1x4. I'm going to measure that 1x6 at 30 inches and I'm going to cut it 2 pieces exactly the same at 30 inches because this is going to be my shelf. But I've got to measure the width because I need some cross bracing. So I'm going to take those 1x4s and cut them at 11 inches, but I also want to make sure I put some little dog ears on them. That's going to give it kind of a little design that it needs. And then I'm going to put some glue and I'm going to put these upside down. Now, when I put the wood glue on, you just don't put it on like that. You want to make sure you smear it all around because you want as much coverage as you can get. I'm going to take that first board and put it upside down on there with 3 brad nails on each side. Then I'm going to put the second board on, and again, 3 brad nails on each side. Hold it together while the glue dries. Next step, after I wipe that glue off, is I need to go ahead and put a back on there. So I cut this down a little bit less than 30 inches, glued it, and again, use some brad nails and put it together on each side, and that's my shelf. Next step, I've got to build some supports that's going to hang it up for me. So I cut these at 30 inches, but on the back of the shelf, I want to lay some glue and put and smear that around. Then I'm going to put that support on there and using the brad nail, put that on. Once that glue dries again, it's going to be super strong. Once these supports are on, I also need to make sure I got a cross brace across the top. That's going to make it really strong. I'm going to brad nail and glue that on there. And then I need some way to hook it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that brace on, a top, and then a back piece. It's going to give me a 2-inch gap in there that I can go ahead and hang it on anything I'd like. Once I get that down, I had a little bit more of that 1x6 scrap left over. So I used a Forstner bit, drilled a 1-inch hole, put some glue in there. Now I did cheat a little bit. I did find this dowel. It was a scrap piece and I went ahead and put that in there and glued it in and I'm gonna let that set up. And then I'm gonna put it on the board, on the shelf there. And then I'm gonna drill 2 holes. I'm gonna put some hooks in there. These are gonna be great for hanging things. I can hang some towels or anything like that. And then to protect it from the UV light, I need to put some stain on. I'm gonna get some stain on this and guess what? It's gonna take time to take it outside. Here we go, and it hooks right on that fence. No legs, no wheels or anything like that, just hooks up anywhere I want to put it on my vinyl fence, and then I can hang and put it anything on there that I want and get it ready for barbecue. And then I love my paper towel holder, just like that. I think this thing turned out amazing. Just 3 boards turned it into this wonderful little work of art. And you know, I hope this inspired you to build your own little fence hanging shelf. Thanks for watching Home Talk. We'll catch you next time.